The icy wind of Montana sliced through cedar flats like a blade, cold enough to make even the toughest man shiver. Bram Caldwell trudged down the deserted street, his pack mule trailing behind, as snow swirled across the ground like a blanket of dust. For 15 years he had made his home in the mountains, far from the noise of people, the troubles of society, and the law that had once tried to hang him for a crime he never committed. Towns were the last place he wanted to be. But winter didn't care about a man's preferences. He needed supplies to survive. The moment he stepped into town, eyes turned toward him. Whispers filled the air. "Grizzly Bram," someone muttered from a porch, "lives past Devil's Elbow. Killed a judge, they say." Bram kept walking, jaw clenched. He had long learned that rumors spread faster than bullets. The truth didn't matter much when fear held sway. As he neared Hutchinson's general store, something in the alley caught his attention, a quick, almost hidden movement. Bram paused, his hand instinctively reaching for the Colt at his hip before he realized there was no danger, just a young woman, no more than 20, sifting through the trash for food. She moved with the speed of someone constantly on edge. Her dress was thin, and her hands, red and cracked from the cold, fumbled with the scraps. She pulled out a piece of stale bread like it was a precious gem. Bram didn't know why his feet led him closer. Perhaps it was the way she stood, her body tense, ready to flee at any moment. Or maybe it was because he knew that hunger, the kind that gnawed at you, the kind that didn't leave you alone. "Miss," he said softly. She spun, her back slamming against the wall, eyes narrowed and sharp like shards of broken glass. She said nothing, but her gaze spoke volumes. Bram reached into his coat, not for his gun, but for the leather pouch of gold dust he carried. It contained the fruit of 3 months' hard labor, enough to get him through until spring. He wasn't sure what he planned to say until the words left his mouth. "Can I buy you?" Her face shifted quickly. Shock, anger, then something like dark amusement. She lifted her chin, meeting his eyes. "You can't afford my freedom." The words hit Bram harder than any bullet. That wasn't what he meant at all. He hadn't been trying to buy her. He hadn't been trying to own anyone. He just wanted to help. But he realized what she heard. The same thing too many men had likely said to her. Slowly, he put the pouch away. "I meant no disrespect," he said. "There's a place down the street that serves hot stew for 15 cents. Good meal, good warmth. Thought you might use it." She eyed him as if trying to read the truth beneath his words. "Why?" she asked. "Because I know hunger," he replied, "and I know running." Something softened in her gaze just for a moment. She wasn't fooled, but perhaps she understood. "The men after me don't give up easy," she said. "Neither do grizzlies," Bram answered, "and I'm still here." Her lips twitched, almost smiling. Almost. Together, they walked to Murphy's eating house, though she kept her back close to the wall as they entered. Bram picked a corner table, ensuring they had a clear view of the door. She sat stiffly, as if waiting for trouble to come crashing in at any moment. "Ada," she finally said. "Ada Merritt." "Bram Caldwell," he replied. "I know who you are," she said. "They say you killed a judge." "They say a lot," Bram answered. "Most of it wrong." The stew arrived, thick and steaming, full of vegetables. Ada tried not to devour it, but her every bite betrayed her hunger. Bram gave her space, sipping his coffee slowly. The door swung open. 3 men stepped inside, their boots heavy and faces colder than the wind outside. The leader, a scar running across his face, fixed his pale eyes on Ada. She froze. "Well, well," the scarred man sneered. "Miss Merritt, you've led us quite a chase." "I don't know you," Ada said, but her shaking hands betrayed her. "You knew Samuel Barislin," the man continued, "and you took something of his, papers he never should have had." Ada's spoon clattered to the table. Bram spoke before she could. "Let the lady eat in peace." The scarred man glared. "This doesn't concern you, mountain man." "It does now," Bram said calmly, his hand resting near his gun. "You threatening us?" the man sneered. "No," Bram replied. "I'm stating facts. Draw your guns in here. Someone dies. Might be you." For a moment, the entire room held its breath. Then the scarred man snorted. "This isn't over," he muttered. "It usually ain't," Bram said. The men left, but Bram knew they were waiting outside. "We need to move," he said. "Back door through the kitchen." "Where would we go?" Ada asked. "I got a cabin up past Devil's Elbow," Bram replied. "Warm, safe, hard to find." "And the price?" she whispered. "No price," Bram said gently. "Just an offer." Ada looked out at the street where danger lingered. Then she met his eyes and nodded. They slipped out the back, the snow starting to fall heavily, covering their tracks. Ada climbed behind Bram on his mountain mare, and they rode toward the dark line of the mountains. Behind them, faint in the wind, came the sound of men mounting their horses. They were being followed, and the storm was closing in. Snow fell heavier as Bram guided his mare up the narrow mountain trail. The storm pressed against them like a living thing, trying to push them back toward danger. Ada clung to his waist, her thin coat offering little protection against the cold. Bram could feel the tremors running through her. "We're close," he said, though the wind nearly swallowed his voice. Ada didn't answer. She was saving her strength. "Smart," he muttered. The higher they climbed, the sharper the air bit at their lungs. But the mare knew the land. She stepped sure through snow that rose almost to her chest. A mile later, the trees opened and the outline of Bram's cabin appeared. Dark logs against a sea of white. Smoke still rose from the chimney, just as he had left it. Relief flooded through him. For 15 years, this place had been his sanctuary. He hoped it would be hers, too. Inside, Ada stood close to the fire Bram built, rubbing her hands together. Her cheeks were pink from the cold. She looked around the room, taking in the sturdy table, the rifles on the wall, the shelves filled with food he had gathered through the seasons. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's shelter," Bram said. "But truth is, her voice warmed something in me I didn't want to name just yet." After she warmed up, Bram handed her a cup of pine tea. Ada drank it slowly, eyes half closed. For the first time since he met her, she didn't look ready to run. "You said the men after you won't give up," Bram said. "Who are they?" Ada set the cup down and pulled a leather folder from her bag. "I took these," she said. "What kind of papers?" Bram asked. "The kind men kill for," she answered. He opened the folder. Inside were survey maps, deeds, letters, 2 sets of documents, one real, one forged. Bram recognized names of mining families, ranchers, honest folk he'd seen around Montana. "You're telling me these men stole land?" he asked. "More than land," Ada replied. "They stole claims, silver rights, entire lives. My employer found the truth, and they pushed him down a staircase to hide it." Rage burned in Bram's chest. "And they blamed you." "They planned to kill me too. I ran, but towns aren't safe. Word spreads everywhere." "Then you showed up," she said, meeting his eyes. Before Bram could answer, something outside caught his attention. Movement. A shadow crossing the snow. He put a finger to his lips. Ada froze. Bram moved to the firing slit in the wall, his eyes narrowing. Through it, he saw 3 riders creeping between the trees, rifles raised. "They found us," he whispered. Ada's breath hitched. "What do we do?" "We stay quiet," Bram said. "They're scouting." "The full group isn't far." The scouts circled wide, staying low, studying the cabin from every angle. Their movements were deliberate. They weren't sloppy. "Professionals," Bram muttered. "Will they attack tonight?" Ada asked. "No," Bram said. "They'll wait for the rest of them. They want numbers." For the rest of the day, Bram and Ada fortified the cabin. They stacked logs near the door, filled buckets with water, and lined up ammunition within reach. Bram showed her the hidden panels, the root cellar escape tunnel, and the narrow places where she could shoot safely. As they worked, Ada proved quick and steady. She didn't complain once, didn't break. "You've done this before," Bram said. "My father taught me to shoot," Ada replied. "He said a woman alone must know how to protect herself." "Smart man," Bram said. When night came, the mountains went still. "Too quiet," Bram muttered. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. They took turns keeping watch. Ada sat by the back window, shotgun resting across her knees. Bram watched the front, eyes sharp on the tree line. Hours passed. Finally, Bram said, "Tell me what happens if those papers never reach the right hands." Ada's shoulders slumped. "Then nothing changes. Families lose their land. Honest people get ruined. Men like Bellingham and Hancock get richer." "Bellingham?" Bram echoed. "One of the men behind this," Ada said. "A militia colonel now. He used to be a surveyor. He forged documents that ruined my family." Bram felt his muscles tighten with fury. "He's the one chasing you." "He wants me dead," Ada said quietly. "He wants the papers gone." Bram nodded. "Then we don't let him have either." The night dragged on, and at midnight, Bram heard something faint, a low whistle carried by the wind. He stiffened. "They're here." Ada moved closer. "How many?" "More than we can handle in the dark," Bram said. "They won't rush yet, but they're waiting." Ada drew a long breath. "Bram, if you want to leave, you should. I won't blame you." He turned to her, his eyes steady. "I ain't leaving you." Shock flickered across her face. No one had ever said that to her, he could tell. Before she could respond, a gunshot rang out. Then another. Light flared behind the trees as torches lifted. The siege had begun. Bram chambered around in his rifle and glanced at Ada. "You ready?" She nodded. "Then let's make them wish they never came." The first light of dawn barely touched the mountains when the real attack came. Bram felt it before he heard it. The air shifted, the stillness heavy, and the horses below went quiet. Then a voice cut through the cold morning. "Bram Caldwell, Ada Merritt, you're surrounded." Ada's breath caught in her throat. "It's him." Colonel Marcus Bellingham stepped out from behind the trees, polished boots, clean uniform, like he was marching in a parade, not leading hired killers up a mountain. More than a dozen men fanned out behind him, rifles raised. Bram raised his rifle but didn't fire. Yet. Bellingham cupped his hands. "Send out the girl and the papers." "Do that, and I swear you walk away." Ada shook her head. "He'll kill you. He'll kill both of us." Bram didn't answer Bellingham. He answered Ada. "We don't surrender, not today." A gunshot rang out, followed by another. Bullets slammed into the logs, splintering wood. Bram fired back, dropping one man who tried to rush the left side. Ada moved to the back firing panel, shooting with precision. "Reloading," she called. "I've got you," Bram answered, covering her side. The cabin shook under the barrage. Smoke started seeping between the logs. "They're trying to burn us out," Ada said. Bram grabbed the water bucket and threw it against the smoking wall. "They're scared," he muttered. "That means we hurt them." Gunfire rained again. The cabin was strong, but Bram knew better. Too many rifles could bring it down. A torch suddenly flew from the blind side, landing on the roof and rolling down. Ada ran for another bucket, but Bram grabbed her arm. "Back away! They're drawing you out!" Another torch sailed past the window. The smell of burning pitch filled the cabin. Ada coughed. "Bram, if the roof catches—" "I'm not letting that happen," he said, kicking open the trap door beneath the floor. "Root cellar," he said. "We'll fight from below." They scrambled into the narrow space as smoke thickened above them. Bram pulled a rifle through a hidden firing slit. From here they could hit the men creeping close enough to throw fire. Ada fired first. A grunt outside confirmed she'd hit her mark. The attackers grew impatient, shouting orders, boots pounding through the snow. "They're rushing!" Bram shouted. The sounds of chaos filled the valley. Then everything stopped. A new sound filled the air. Horses, many horses, not from Bellingham's direction. A wild cry echoed off the cliffs. Ada's eyes widened. "Who is that?" she asked. "Friends," Bram said, a weight lifting off his shoulders. Through the smoke, Bram heard the thunder of hooves and the crack of rifles. Bellingham's men shouted in panic. The ground shook as riders poured into the valley from the north. Joe Stands Alone led them, his voice rising like a warning to the sky. The attackers were overwhelmed, unprepared for a second fight. Bram kicked open the cellar exit, grabbing Ada's hand. Together, they ran into the storm. "Come on!" Bram shouted. They reached the trees just as one of Bellingham's men spotted Ada and raised his rifle. Without thinking, Bram fired from the hip. The man dropped. "Let's go!" Bram yelled. They reached a nearby rider. Joe Stands Alone. "This way!" Joe yelled. Bram climbed onto the horse behind him. Joe took the reins, kicking the horse into motion. The snow flew behind them as the shots continued to chase them, but the new riders fought back, covering their retreat. Within minutes, the attackers were left behind, buried in the smoke and confusion. Hours later, Bram and Ada reached a hidden ridge. Safe, for now. Ada slid off the horse, her legs shaking. Bram caught her before she could fall. "You okay?" he asked. Her breath trembled in the cold air. "You saved me. You saved yourself," he said. "I just helped." She looked back at the smoke rising in the distance. "You're home," she said. Bram followed her gaze. The cabin that had been his refuge for years was burning. A lifetime of work, gone. He exhaled slowly. Cabins can be rebuilt. Lives can't. Ada stepped closer, placing her hand on his chest. "I'm sorry." Bram covered her hand with his. "It's worth it. You're worth it." Her eyes softened, filled with something warm and bright. Something Bram hadn't seen in a long time. "Where do we go now?" she whispered. "Somewhere safe first," Bram said. "Then to the law. Someone honest. Someone who can use those papers to take Bellingham down for good." Ada nodded. "I'll stand with you." Bram smiled faintly. "Wasn't planning on standing without you." Below them, Joe stands alone and his riders regrouped, ready to guide them through the mountain paths no militia could follow. Ada rested her head on Bram's shoulder. For the first time since Cedar Flats, she wasn't running. She was choosing. Snow continued to fall, soft and quiet, as if the mountains themselves were giving their blessing. Bram wrapped his arm around her. "You said I couldn't buy your freedom," he murmured. "And I was right," Ada said, smiling. "But you earned something better." "What's that?" "My trust." Bram looked out over the vast Montana land, scarred by violence, yet still breathtakingly beautiful. He felt something shift deep inside, open, settle. Maybe he didn't need to live alone anymore. Maybe he never had. "Then," he said softly, "we've got a future to fight for." Together they walked down the ridge, ready for whatever came next.